Welcome to Trump Wire, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. For decades, Boeing has been the face of American aviation, connecting continents and symbolizing global travel. But today, that titan is under siege. Boeing faces a crisis of unprecedented scale, caught in the crossfire of a US-China trade war that threatens its very foundation. Once, China was Boeing's largest international market. Now, it's become its greatest liability. The comfortable duopoly with Airbus is unraveling, exposing Boeing's vulnerability to global politics and new competitors. At the heart of this story, can an American icon survive the rise of a determined global rival? We'll explore how the trade war, Beijing's strategic moves, and Boeing's own missteps have pushed the company to the brink. This is more than a story about airplanes. It's about the shifting balance of power in the 21st century global economy. Boeing's crisis began with the escalating US-China trade war, a conflict that would soon send shockwaves through the global aviation industry. In April 2025, the US government imposed a staggering 145% tariff on Chinese imports, aiming to curb what it saw as unfair trade practices. China responded swiftly, slapping a 125% tariff on key American goods, most notably, commercial aircraft. The tit-for-tat escalation sent a clear message. Both nations were willing to use economic firepower to defend their interests. For Chinese airlines, this meant the price of a Boeing jet more than doubled overnight. Suddenly, what had been a routine business decision, upgrading fleets with the latest Boeing models, became commercially impossible. Airlines were forced to freeze orders, delay deliveries, and reconsider their long-term strategies. Boeing's entire strategy had banked on China's booming aviation market, a region expected to need thousands of new planes over the next 2 decades. The company had even opened a state-of-the-art completion center in Zhoushan, hoping to cement its presence and build lasting partnerships with Chinese carriers. But overnight, those prized assets, factories, offices, and long-term contracts were transformed into unaffordable liabilities. The door to a market that once accounted for a quarter of Boeing's global sales was slammed shut, leaving the company scrambling to adapt. The trade war weaponized economic ties, turning what had been a mutually beneficial relationship into a battleground. Boeing, once a symbol of international cooperation, now found itself dangerously exposed to the crossfire of global politics. For the US, the tariffs were a tool to pressure China into making concessions. For China, retaliating was a show of strength and resilience, signaling that it would not back down easily. Boeing became a high-profile casualty, its fate now tied to the unpredictable political maneuvers of Washington and Beijing. Every headline, every negotiation, and every new tariff announcement sent ripples through the company's stock price and workforce. The perfect storm has arrived. Trade tensions, economic uncertainty, and shifting alliances have all converged. Boeing is right in its path, struggling to navigate through unprecedented turbulence. The company's future now hangs in the balance, as employees, investors, and industry partners anxiously await the next move in this high-stakes global standoff. China didn't stop at tariffs. It took a bold and unprecedented step by ordering its state-owned airlines to immediately halt all purchases from Boeing, the American aerospace giant. This was a clear signal that China was willing to use its massive aviation market as leverage in the escalating trade dispute. Major carriers like Air China and China Southern, which had long relied on Boeing jets for their fleets, were instructed to stop taking deliveries, even for aircraft that were already on the assembly line or nearly ready for shipment. This sudden freeze sent shockwaves through the global aviation industry. This wasn't just about pausing new orders, it effectively locked Boeing out of the world's fastest-growing aviation market. The move left showrooms empty, grounded planes waiting for buyers, and sales offices shuttered, as the company's presence in China was abruptly put on hold. The directive went even further, pausing not only the purchase of new aircraft, but also the import of US-made airplane parts. This isolated Boeing and its vast network of suppliers, disrupting maintenance, repairs, and future upgrades for existing fleets. It was a calculated and strategic blockade, designed to inflict maximum economic pain on Boeing and its partners. The decision escalated the conflict from a matter of commerce to a high-stakes geopolitical standoff, with both sides digging in. China's message was unmistakable: business with foreign companies is no longer guaranteed, and the void left by Boeing's absence would be filled by domestic manufacturers. The country's aviation industry, already growing rapidly, now had a unique opportunity to accelerate its development and capture a larger share of the market. The move not only punished Boeing, but also gave a powerful boost to China's own aviation ambitions. Chinese engineers and manufacturers ramped up efforts to design, build, and deliver new commercial jets, aiming to compete on the global stage. For Boeing, the message was clear: the Great Wall was up, and the company now found itself firmly on the outside, cut off from a market that had once been a cornerstone of its international business. The commercial relationship between China and the US had transformed into a political battlefield, with aviation at the center of the struggle. Every move was now scrutinized by governments, industry leaders, and the global media. The consequences of China's decisive move will ripple across the global aviation industry, reshaping alliances, supply chains, and the future of air travel for years to come. With Chinese orders frozen, Boeing has been forced to fly brand new jets, some still painted in Chinese airline colors, back to the US. These unwanted planes are a stark symbol of the crisis. Reconfiguring them for new buyers is costly and time-consuming, turning finished products into expensive headaches. Boeing is now scrambling to resell dozens of jets, often at deep discounts, to airlines in India and elsewhere. The sight of these planes returning home underscores Boeing's diminished leverage. Once, airlines waited anxiously for new Boeings. Now, finished jets sit idle, waiting for buyers. This homeward journey is more than logistics, it's a retreat. Even a Titan can be left with a fleet of unwanted planes. As Boeing is locked out of China, rivals are moving fast. Airbus, Boeing's European competitor, is poised to secure a historic order, potentially up to 500 jets, from Chinese airlines. This would cement Airbus's lead in the world's fastest-growing aviation market, and deepen China-Europe ties. Meanwhile, China's own COMAC is being aggressively promoted as a domestic alternative. The trade war gives COMAC the perfect opportunity to scale up, refine its technology, and build credibility. Beijing is now pressuring its airlines to buy Chinese, accelerating its goal of breaking the Boeing-Airbus duopoly. Supporting COMAC isn't just about planes, it's about building a national industry. The halt in Boeing orders is both retaliation and a nation-building project. The global aviation landscape is shifting, at Boeing's expense. Boeing's crisis with China lands on a company already weakened by years of turmoil. The 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019 shattered its reputation for safety, triggering global groundings and intense regulatory scrutiny. Accusations of profit over safety led to leadership shakeups and a long road to rebuild trust. Labor strikes and supply chain disruptions in 2024 further strained Boeing's operations. Quality control issues resurfaced with incidents like the Alaska Airlines door plug blowout, prompting more audits. These accumulated problems left Boeing financially and operationally vulnerable before the trade war even hit. The halt in Chinese orders is a massive new weight on an already struggling company. Boeing's legacy of turbulence has made the current storm even harder to weather. In crisis, leaders' words matter. Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg has warned that tariffs make Chinese deliveries impossible, urging U.S. lawmakers to reconsider policies that harm American exporters. CFO Brian West tries to project stability, pointing to strong global demand and a massive order backlog. But the sudden loss of nearly 180 Chinese deliveries leaves a gaping hole. Political rhetoric is less sympathetic. Former President Trump urges Boeing to default China, prioritizing a tough trade stance over corporate interests. Chinese officials, meanwhile, call for the U.S. to drop tariffs and prepare for a future with less reliance on American technology. Both sides are digging in for a prolonged standoff. Boeing is caught in the middle, with no easy resolution in sight. Boeing's crisis marks a turning point, one that is sending shockwaves through the entire global aviation industry. For decades, Boeing and Airbus have dominated the skies, their rivalry shaping the very fabric of commercial flight. But now, the balance of power is shifting. China is no longer just a customer, but a kingmaker in global aviation. Its airlines are expanding rapidly, and its influence is being felt in every corner of the industry. China's economic leverage and political will now shape the fortunes of the world's largest industrial companies. International partnerships and investments are increasingly being decided in Beijing, not just Seattle or Toulouse. The ongoing trade dispute is accelerating China's push to build a self-sufficient aerospace industry, centered on its homegrown manufacturer, COMAC. The country is investing billions in research, technology, and infrastructure to close the gap with Western giants. The goal, not just to supply its own airlines, but to become a global exporter of advanced aircraft, challenging the status quo. COMAC aims to compete head-to-head with Boeing and Airbus, offering airlines around the world a new alternative. The era of a comfortable duopoly is ending. The aviation industry is bracing for a new era of fierce competition. A three-way race is emerging, with each player vying for dominance in a rapidly changing market. Political alliances and national interests may soon influence aircraft deals as much as price, technology, or performance. For the US, China's rise is a direct challenge to its technological and economic leadership, forcing American companies to rethink their strategies. Boeing's struggles are a warning. Complacency is no longer an option in this new era. American dominance is no longer guaranteed. The world is watching as new players rise and old certainties fade. China is building more than planes. It's building a foundation for technological leadership, innovation, and global influence. In the skies above, a new world order is taking shape, one where China's ambitions are soaring higher than ever before. Boeing's troubles in 1925 reveal a new global reality. The trade war with China has redrawn the aviation map, turning Boeing's biggest market into its greatest challenge. Brand new jets, painted for Chinese airlines, now return to the US, a powerful symbol of fractured ties. Airbus is poised to deepen its foothold in China, while COMAC rises as a new contender. The future is a divided sky. The era of a simple two-player market is over. Aircraft deals will be shaped by politics as much as engineering. Boeing must fix its internal issues and adapt to a world where government policy can turn customers into adversaries overnight. The company's struggle is a cautionary tale for all multinationals in a shifting world order. The sky is no longer the limit. It's the new frontier of global competition.